All right, let's dive in. Manifestation. It's one of those things that, I don't know about you, but kind of makes me roll my eyes a little bit,
I get it.
But then I see all these people swearing by it, and then there's all this talk about quantum physics and frequencies. It's like, is there something more to this than just wishful thinking?
Yeah, it's a good question. And there's a video, actually, by a Cambridge PhD student, Devi Sietaram. She really tries to connect the dots between, like, the law of attraction and actual science.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So what's her take? Like, how does she bring quantum physics into all of this?
Well, she starts with this idea that everything in the universe has a frequency, right? Like, we know sound has a frequency, light has a frequency, but she's saying everything, even our emotions.
Hold on. Emotions having a frequency. That sounds a little out there.
I know, right? But think about it. Everything is made up of, like, tiny vibrating particles, right?
Yeah.
So those vibrations create a frequency, like an energy signature. And emotions, like, they cause physical changes in our bodies. So it's not that crazy to think those changes could also have frequencies.
Okay, so if we're all just walking bundles of frequencies, I guess, where does manifestation come in?
Well, Devi makes this point that we can only perceive a tiny fraction of the frequencies out there. Like, imagine a radio dial, right?
Okay.
You can only tune into a certain range, but there are tons of other stations you can't even hear.
So we're missing a whole lot of, what, information, realities even.
Potentially. And this is where she brings in quantum physics. Have you heard of the double-slit experiment?
Oh, vaguely. Something about light being both a wave and a particle?
Yeah. But the crazy thing is, the way light acts, like whether it's a wave or a particle, changes depending on if it's being observed.
Wait, so someone just watching can change how reality works?
That's what the experiment seems to show. And that's how Devi ties it to manifestation. She brings up wave-particle duality, the idea that everything with mass, us included, also acts like a wave, and waves have frequencies, remember?
Okay, I'm following. So we're all putting out these waves, these frequencies, but how does that actually change anything?
Well, and she brings in Einstein.
Wow.
You know, his theory of relativity, how mass and energy warp space-time.
Right.
And this is where it gets wild. She's basically saying, what if our minds are the mass and energy creating those curvatures?
So, like, our thoughts and emotions are literally shaping reality. That's a big claim.
It is. And it leads to some pretty mind-blowing implications for manifestation.
Okay, I am definitely intrigued. So how does she say we actually tap into all of this? Like, if our thoughts and emotions have that much power, how do we use them to, manifest stuff?
Well, she uses this really great analogy. She says, imagine we're all like radios. Yeah. And the realities we experience are like different radio stations. So manifestation is about tuning our radio to the frequency of the reality we want.
Okay, I like that. So how do we tune in to the right station? Like, what's the process?
Devi outlines 3 main steps. First, you have to really express your desire. Get clear on what you want.
All right, that makes sense. What's next?
Then you've got to align yourself with the frequency of that desire. So it's not just about wanting it, it's about feeling it like you already have it.
So it's like an emotional thing.
Yeah.
But how do you just decide to feel a certain way, especially if your reality is totally different?
That's a good point. And that leads to the 3rd step, which is detaching from your current reality, like letting go of the need to control how it happens.
That sounds tricky.
Yeah, it definitely takes practice. But that's where all the tools and techniques for manifestation come in. Visualizations, affirmations, things like that.
So it's not just about wishing really hard. It's about actively shifting your mindset and your energy. This is fascinating stuff. But I got to ask, is there any actual science to back this up? Or is it all just, theoretical?
It's a great question. And honestly, the science is still catching up. But there is some interesting research out there. For example, the double-slit experiment we talked about, that's been replicated tons of times.
Really? So there's proof that observation changes reality.
Well, it's not quite that simple, but it definitely shows that consciousness plays a role in how the physical world behaves.
Okay, so maybe there's something to this whole frequency thing after all. I'm definitely starting to see things in a new light.
Me too. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to unpack here, especially when it comes to the implications for our collective reality.
Ooh, okay, now I'm even more curious. Let's dig into that in the next part of our deep dive.
It's a bit mind-boggling, right? If we're all these walking frequency emitters, then what are we putting out there?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, if my thoughts and emotions are shaping my reality, are they also affecting everyone else?
That's what Devi seems to be suggesting. She talks about how we're all connected, energetically speaking. So, Every thought, every emotion has a ripple effect.
Whoa, so it's not just about me manifesting my dream life, it's also about the energy I'm contributing to the collective.
Right. And that kind of raises the stakes, doesn't it? Like, if we're all part of this big energy field, then we also have the power to shift it, to make it more positive.
So manifestation isn't just about getting what we want. It's also about, like, creating a better world for everyone.
Exactly. I think that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating. It's not just about personal gain, it's about recognizing our interconnectedness and our potential to co-create a more harmonious reality.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. But I think this is where a lot of people get tripped up. Like, let's say I'm feeling jealous of a friend who just landed their dream job. How do I apply all this to my own life?
Well, first of all, don't beat yourself up for feeling jealous. It's a totally normal human emotion.
Yeah, but isn't jealousy, like, the opposite of what we're trying to do here?
Not necessarily. Devi actually sees jealousy as a sign that you're not in alignment with what you want. Like, it's a signal from your inner self saying, hey, pay attention. There's something here you need to address.
So instead of trying to ignore it, I should actually lean into that
Well,
feeling.
in a way, yeah. Acknowledge it. Say, okay, I'm feeling jealous. What's this telling me about what I truly desire?
Oh, I see. So it's like a wake-up call almost.
Exactly. And once you've acknowledged those feelings, you can start shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing your friend's success as a threat, try to view it as inspiration. Like, if they can do it, so can I.
I like that. So it's about turning that negative energy into something more positive and motivating.
Right. And then remember Devi's 3 steps. Reaffirm your desire. Get really clear on what you want. Visualize yourself already having it. And then focus on cultivating the feelings you'd have if you were already living that reality. The joy, the gratitude, the fulfillment.
And that's where all the techniques we hear about come in, right? The scripting, the affirmations, the visualizations.
Exactly. And they can be really powerful tools for helping you shift your energy and align with your desires. It's like giving your radio a little boost, helping you tune in to that desired frequency.
This is making so much more sense now. But I still have that little voice in my head saying, okay, but does this actually work? Is there any proof?
I get it. We want evidence, right? And while the scientific understanding of all of this is still evolving, there are definitely some intriguing clues out there.
Like what?
Well, besides the double-slit experiment, there's a lot of research happening in epigenetics, which is showing how our thoughts and beliefs can actually influence our gene expression.
Wait, so my thoughts can literally change my biology.
That's what the research is pointing to. And then there's the placebo effect, where people experience real physical changes just because they believe they're receiving a treatment.
So the power of belief is a real thing.
It seems that way. And even if we don't fully understand all the mechanisms yet, there's no denying the countless anecdotal stories of people manifesting incredible things in their lives.
I've definitely heard some pretty wild stories. But even if we set those aside, just thinking about the potential implications of all of this is pretty mind-blowing.
It is, and I think it really challenges us to take responsibility for our thoughts and emotions, recognizing that they have a much greater impact than we might realize.
Yeah, that's a big takeaway for me. Like, if I'm constantly complaining and focusing on the negative, I'm not just creating a bad mood for myself. I'm actually contributing to a collective energy of negativity.
Right. And on the flip side, if we can learn to cultivate more positive thoughts and emotions, we're not only benefiting ourselves, we're also contributing to a more harmonious world for everyone.
That's a pretty powerful thought. So for anyone listening who's feeling inspired to start exploring all of this, where would you recommend they begin?
I'd say start by simply noticing your thoughts and emotions throughout the day. Pay attention to the frequencies you're tuning into. Are they fear, worry, doubt? Or are they joy, gratitude, love?
And if you find yourself stuck in a negative loop, what then?
There are so many great techniques for shifting your frequency. Meditation, journaling, spending time in nature, these can all be incredibly helpful.
If those who are looking for a little more guidance.
No. Go on.
Just a quick reminder, if you're ready to start manifesting your dream life, we've included links in the description to some amazing resources. Take a look after the episode.
Great point. There are tons of books, courses, and workshops out there that can provide you with practical tools and techniques. It's all about finding what resonates with you.
Exactly. The most important thing is to just start experimenting, to see what works for you. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. Be patient with yourself and celebrate those small wins along the way. I love that. It's not about being perfect. It's about progress. And every time we choose a more loving thought, every time we focus on gratitude instead of lack, we're shifting our frequency and creating a more beautiful world.
Beautifully said. And that's something to really keep in mind as we move into the final part of our deep dive. So we're all kind of like walking around, putting out these vibes, right? And those vibes, they're not just affecting us, they're adding to this like big cosmic soup of energy.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you. So what kind of energy are we putting out there? That's the big question, right?
It is. Are we like amplifying fear and scarcity and all that? Or are we choosing to, radiate more love and abundance and connection?
That's a pretty profound way to think about it.
Yeah.
Like, we have a responsibility not just for ourselves, but for like the whole energy field.
Exactly. Every thought, every emotion, it all matters. It's like we're all holding these little tuning forks, and depending on which one we strike, we're either adding to the harmony or the dissonance of the universe.
Wow. So how do we make sure we're striking the right tuning fork? Like, where do we even begin?
I think it starts with awareness, like just noticing your thoughts and emotions throughout the day. What are the dominant frequencies you're tuned into? Are they fear, worry, doubt, or are they joy, gratitude, love?
And if you realize you're like stuck in a negative loop, what then? How do you shift out of that?
Oh, there are so many tools and techniques out there. Meditation can be really helpful, or journaling, or even just spending time in nature.
And for those who want like a more structured approach, there are tons of resources available, right?
Totally. And actually,
Yeah.
just a quick reminder, if you're ready to start manifesting your dream life, we've included links in the description to some amazing resources. Take a look after the episode.
Perfect. So many great books and courses and workshops out there. It's all about finding what works for you and your unique energy.
Absolutely. And remember, it's a journey. Be patient with yourself and celebrate those small wins along the way. Every little shift in your frequency makes a difference.
I love that. It's not about perfection. It's about progress.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's about recognizing that we have the power to create a more beautiful world, both for ourselves and for everyone around us.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's been such a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise. And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into manifestation and the power of our thoughts and emotions.
Perfect.
Until next time, keep those frequencies high. And remember, you are the architect of your own reality.